Are there certain behaviors we subconsciously exhibit which kind of affect our relationships, whether those are relationships at work or personal relationships or when we're just socializing and trying to make friends? Welcome to Shreya TV. My name is Shreya and here I discuss everyday psychology that you can use in your work and life in general. Today's video is inspired by a question that came up from a client a few days back and we actually worked on it. And I thought that message that I shared with him should go out to everyone out there because I know we keep making a lot of these mistakes. So here are 3 things that I identified that all of us should watch out to when we are trying to build an authentic relationship or a connection with anyone. The first thing we end up doing subconsciously or sometimes even consciously is judgment and labeling. Well, the bitter truth is that practice of judgment and practice of connection cannot coexist whatsoever. So whenever you set out to build a relationship with anyone, if your first instinct is to label them, which actually happens with a lot of us, but if you end up fostering that instinct and if you end up encouraging it and you kind of judge the person who you're trying to network with or build a relationship with, chances are very high that you are not going to build the connection and you're not going to feel very authentic when you even have a general conversation with them. Forget about anything else. Yeah, one thing you could do with them is work related discussions, because it's very easy to talk about work. Them and us, we share common technical skills. It's very easy to talk about work with such people. But if at any point with people who you want to build a connection, you end up judging them, it's not going to work. Here's another thing about judgment and labeling, which is why it's so difficult to get rid of it, because as humans, it's very easy and sometimes it's important to compartmentalize people in our mind, because that way it becomes easier for us to exhibit a behavior towards them. So let's say, a certain person wears certain kind of clothes. So it's easy for me to quickly bracket them or compartmentalize them into one place, and then I feel, okay, I should deal with this person a certain way because they wear these kind of clothes. In fact, yesterday I was traveling back to Bangalore in a flight and I had booked an aisle seat and I sat on my seat, and there's a gentleman who walked in and his was a window seat. So while I was sitting, I looked at him and I was about to get up to let him go inside, and he said, hey, you can take the window seat if you want. And I said, no thanks. He said, no, usually I know women like to take the window seats. I just said, wow, that's a very generous observation, but no thank you. So again, you see how that person even unwantingly kind of exhibited labeling and judging a certain gender. So it could be even gender judgment or gender labeling or any kind of labeling. But I think largely we really need to get into our brain, in our conscious mind when we are doing it, and we need to stop doing that the minute we realize that we are indulging into it, because that takes away connection altogether. The second reason why we are not able to connect with people is because we are busy projecting a certain image in front of somebody. And because we are so busy projecting a certain image and we want to create a certain kind of impression in front of them, we are miles away from building any sort of a connection. And a lot of times when you ask somebody why they are projecting a certain image, then the answer is that because I want to come across as this person in front of them. I want them to think about me in a certain way. Example, a lot of people say that, I want to speak confidently in front of my management when I present this time. And I ask them why. And they say, because I want them to think that I'm a confident person. But if you reflect on this person's statement, it's actually a factually incorrect statement, because there's something wrong with the way the person is thinking, because why would you want somebody to think that you're confident? Instead, why don't you want to be confident? I mean, that's I think, more sustainable. That's a long-term practice. That's something that's going to make you connect with your own self. And because you are busy in projectionism, or you're busy projecting a certain image, it gets very difficult for you to even think of all the possibilities and opportunities that are there out, that you can kind of build a rapport with that person. And this also happens a lot in personal relationships. There are people who meet their date for the first time, or a marriage prospect for the first time, and they are so busy and occupied creating a certain kind of impression. While of course all of us are a little stiff the first time we meet somebody, or when we talk to people who in front of whom the stakes are high taken. But is it possible to just shed all the unnecessary weight, and try to really be curious about why you want to know this person, or why you want to speak to this person? So then projectionism is going to take a backseat, and you'll see a whole new level of connection that you want to have with those people. The third and my final reason why people are not able to connect easily, and listen to this one carefully, is because there is unregulated intimidation. Intimidation meaning being scared. Now, everybody gets scared, everybody gets nervous, which is like a subset of being intimidated. But the problem arises when that nervousness does not have a regulator button, when the intimidation does not have a regulator button, when I am not able to modulate or regulate my levels of nervousness beyond a certain point. Or when each time I meet this person, or each time when I'm about to present in this person, I have the same intensity of intimidation or same intensity of nervousness. That's where the problem arises. So because your mind is busy getting scared, busy getting intimidated, because your mind has put the other person on a far greater pedestal, it's going to be very difficult to follow the basic, fundamental, organic processes of life, which are connection. Because that's when we are far away from even thinking that, hey, this person is human as well, and this person has their own set of flaws. We're incapable at that time to bring that thought out. Maybe later, when we are out of that situation, we start thinking that, at the end of it, it was not a big deal, They also were imperfect in some things. But it's about that moment when you are trying to build a rapport, when you're trying to start a conversation, when you want to create high recall value. It is in those times when you bring that regulator knob in front of you and say, okay, I am nervous right now, but I think I can deal with it. I think I can lower it down. And there are ways to lower that nervousness down, which I'd love to speak about in a separate video. But yeah, increasingly, when there are unregulated levels of intimidation, that certainly come in the way of connection. I hope this video made a lot of sense to you, and it helped you reflect if you are doing any of these things. If you are, then start watching out for these signals. And if you liked this video, then I really want you to even show it. Don't only hit the like button, but also subscribe to my channel Shreya TV, because I really hope to bring in high quality content on this channel for you, and nothing short of that. So show your love and spread and share this video with as many people as you can. Thank you so much for watching, and take care.